Okay, welcome to today's class. Today we're looking at The Daughter of Time, and this is a novel by Josephine Tey. It was written in the 1950s, and I didn't remember this book when I saw the title, but I started reading chapter 1 and then I understood I read this a very long time ago in Mr. Dyer's English class when I was about 13 years old, and he came out with a big box of books and he used to just make us read a book, and it was at random. You could still choose, you chose from this box, and I chose this book which had a picture of Richard III on the front, because this is a crime story but also a historical story. It's about an investigation into the murder of the princes in the Tower. A long time ago, during Richard III's reign, and also Henry IV, who came after Richard III. This is the War of the Roses, where you had Richard III fighting Henry IV, and two princes got killed in one of the towers. And if you are familiar with Shakespeare, for example, you'll understand that Richard III, the hunchback, the cripple, he was also crippled, he had a crippled hand, he was accused in Shakespeare of the murder. But in this story, a policeman, Grant, who is lying in hospital, decides to investigate the case because he is bored lying in hospital. And this is the vocabulary that we find in chapter 1, okay? And we're going to look at some grammar as well from some other chapters too. But let's start with some of this vocabulary, because I want you to remember this vocab when you're reading chapter 1. And I've taken some nice collocations and some parts which I think are quite challenging, some words which are quite difficult. So firstly, hate the sight of something is a very good collocation, and I want you to immediately think of love at first sight, yeah, because this is another collocation with sight, and we have lots of collocations with sight. You can say that something is a wonderful sight, a welcome sight, which is of course positive, yeah, those two are positive. But you can say that somebody was an awful sight. Of course, you need an before awful. An awful sight, a terrible sight. And if someone is an awful sight, they look awful, yeah. Or if something is an awful sight, it looks awful. Okay, and so you can use those with sight, and we very often do. You can also lose sight of your goals or lose sight of your aims. This is another excellent collocation with sight. You can say that someone is a sight for sore eyes, or something is a sight for sore eyes. And this means that it's a very good thing. Yeah, if something is a sight for sore eyes, it's exactly what your sore eyes wanted to see. Yeah, and so maybe you're really hungry and your mum brings in dinner and you think, oh, that's a sight for sore eyes. Yeah, dinner is a sight for sore eyes. But we often use it with people as well. You can say that someone is a sight for sore eyes. If you've missed them, you haven't seen them for a long time, then they are a sight for sore eyes when you finally see them.